You're not who you think you are. Do you know why? Who you are today may not be your choice, and that affects how others treat you, how you treat yourself, and ultimately whose version of you that you get to be. In this chapter, I'm going to share what holds women back from setting effective boundaries, how to face those roadblocks, and then how to rewrite what you thought was true about yourself but couldn't change. One of the most powerful keys of life I've learned the hard way is that you will either realize your own dream or you'll become part of somebody else's. You'll either be the star of your own show or just an extra in the stories of other people.
I thought you would be different.
And this points to a need to break from the system that creates this dynamic and dilutes your agency. And before boundaries really work on the outside, something has to shift on the inside. In the previous video of this series, I covered external boundaries and a way to set and maintain them, but that's only half of the story. The internal boundaries are the foundation to the external boundaries. Now, when I say internal boundaries, here's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about becoming more intentional and setting clear limits with the habits that drain you over time. The wine, the weed, the late night series binges, gossip breaks at work, working too late, working too much, coffee for breakfast, or maybe it's just degrading self-talk. These are just a few examples, and some of them need to just be curtailed while other ones need to go away altogether. And what's important to understand is this. When external boundaries feel unsafe or difficult to have, it can be really easy for you to unconsciously compensate by tightening control inward through rigid routines or self-criticism or overworking or overeating or undereating or other high control behaviors that feel stabilizing or protective in the moment, but are depleting the longer that they're part of your life. Now, if you have a hard time upholding external boundaries, which are the boundaries for other people to respect you by, maybe that internal shift I'm talking about hasn't really happened yet, or it's still in progress. And the 5-step process that I'm getting ready to give you will allow you the leverage you need through perspective to confidently make that shift. The foundational principle in force here is that the internal is the groundwork for the external. If you try to do the external without the internal work, everything just collapses. Internal boundaries are the doorway to opportunity that pretty much nobody else can open for you because they determine how you self-regulate and therefore how much of your potential you allow yourself to have access to. What's an internal update? Well, it's identifying where your default behaviors come from, the things you think and say and do, usually without even thinking about it, and replacing them with narratives and action that supports who you're becoming instead of who you've been up until this point. So it's a system update, but instead of just like hitting an update button on a device and waiting for it to be done, it's an active process that needs your input over time. So what does this look like? How do we start this process? Well, first, let's set a reasonable expectation. Okay, it's an update process that you'll use over and over, not just one time. You'll use it for pretty much every area of your life that needs a clearer boundary. It helps you discover the need in a specific area and then uncover the most beneficial way forward that's going to work for you. So here is the 5-step process to clarify what internal boundaries need to be created or strengthened. Now, there is a little bit of work involved, but it's the kind that will inevitably show you something about yourself that you like. So the first question is, what is one area of my life where I consistently cannot say no to myself? Now, this could be a behavior, it could be a thought loop, it could be an emotional reaction. Like maybe it's something to do with your diet, how you eat. Maybe it's how you do or do not prioritize sleep or working out. Or it could even be in how you micromanage other areas of your life. The question 2 is, why does saying yes in this area feel so important to me? Why do you think it gives you comfort or control or identity or validation? How would it feel if you gave yourself a no here instead? What discomfort comes up when you even imagine withholding this thing from yourself, telling yourself no instead of yes? Question number 3, when did I first attach meaning or value to saying yes in this area? Was it something that you were giving yourself permission to do? Was it something you did to feel loved or to be accepted or to avoid conflict? Does it feel like it's a survival response? And whose voice or expectation or belief system might be showing through as still influencing this area of your life? Question number 4, is this still true? Or is it a belief I've outgrown but haven't really questioned? Does this yes reflect the person that you are right now or the person you are working on becoming? Or does it more reflect the person that you've been up until recently? Another way you can test it is if somebody you care about believe this about themselves right now, would you encourage them to keep believing that? Or is it something that is very obviously clashing with who they actually are and what's healthy for them? And question number 5, what's one way I can withhold this yes to test how much power it actually has over me? And this isn't about depriving yourself. It's about observing your reaction to not having this option. What can you replace it with that reflects who you are becoming and not just who you've been? Now, like I said, this is going to take some brain power and some willingness to reflect, but I promise you have the answers. So it's really just a matter of asking. Just about finished with it. After 20 years and nearly 1,000 private female clients, I wrote the book that I wish I could have given to them all along. And it reveals how we got so stressed as a society, what that stress is actually doing throughout the different body systems that are affected the most. And it gives you a concrete framework to resolve that stress. And that framework adjusts to what your personal needs are. And we're also building an app that's a daily companion, helping you identify your unique stress profile so you understand exactly what's actually driving your stress. And you can resolve it instead of just trying to blindly continue to manage it. I'm only giving access to those that I'm already in touch with. So if you're interested in being in the beta group, that helps to shape the features of the app. Or if you just want access to the book before its full release, then if you haven't done so already, go ahead and sign up through the link below and let's stay in touch. And this is where you begin to become someone else, a person that is intimately connected with the process of looking into themselves to continually evolve. And that trait of restriction for liberation will spread into more and larger areas of your life. And the external boundaries that can seem very daunting to uphold will start to become low barrier and almost automatic over time. A large portion of who we are day to day is driven by repeated automatic patterns rather than conscious choice. And this kind of helps explain why boundaries, behaviors, and identity don't really change until these internal patterns are deliberately examined and updated. But this is just the beginning of the process. Now, as you begin to clarify needed boundaries and you strengthen your resolve to uphold them, certain opportunities are going to present themselves to you and doors are going to open in your life, and you'll find that it's time to make decisions that advance you in ways that you just weren't really ready to achieve before. This process can be somewhat strenuous in the beginning, I won't lie, because you're having to reflect on areas that you might not have wanted to face before. But if you will face these boundaries with this step process, then you're going to stay between the rails. Okay, you're going to have some direction, and there's a reason behind every question in this series. And if you follow that and just consider what the answers really mean and what they're reflecting, like I said, I know that you're going to have some things come up that you're going to realize maybe you didn't realize before. And that's going to give you some momentum to work with. And I think it's going to help you to further separate what's essential in your life in terms of like what stress truly belongs in your life for what it gives you versus what stuff just doesn't really go there anymore. And so as these internal boundaries get clearer and stronger, it's going to make it easier for you to have clearer and stronger external boundaries, which is really the whole reason for the practice. Because if you can clarify some things in your own life, in your personal world, then you get that clarity outside. And clarity on the outside means you're going to have more momentum, you're going to have more influence, and you're going to be able to do certain things through doors opening for you that just really weren't open before. And this 5-step process will help you to do that. Now go to the next chapter where I cover the value of a very specific type of awareness and how to always have it by invoking a simple system that is bulletproof for always knowing how to avoid unnecessary stressors so you can focus on the hard things in life that actually matter to you.